Big Data's entire mission is to provide the infrastructure layer necessary to power agentic research and finance, both for developers and for people that don't want to develop anything. And today I'm really going to focus on that. I don't want to build anything. I just want an off-the-shelf solution that helps me move faster and automate things within my organization so my teams can be more effective, cover more names. So what I have on my screen here is actually our Big Data application, with our hero being our agent experience. And then we have a deep research agent primarily. That's where people that's our workhorse. That's where people use the most. What I'm going to show you here is kind of where we stand. So here's a pretty standard prompt that's asking for an update for Lily. So generate an earnings preview for Lily, which is supposed to report next month. I think in April actually. And this is a detailed run through, but it's effectively a prompt to run out, do a bunch of research, bring back things, and generate a report for me. And we see a lot of discretionary fundamental teams starting to use this to automate their day-to-days in a conversational manner. So I'm going to kick this off. So in this case, what we're seeing is we come up with a plan, and now our agent is starting to use all the different tools that we've built. So we have a knowledge graph that spans millions of companies. So it's going to figure out, okay, what company is Lily in our knowledge graph? Then it can go to our earnings calendar and pull back structured information. Again, tool call to pull back earnings information. All thanks to our knowledge graph, pulling fundamentals, right? So financials, key metrics, so balance sheet, income statement, cash flow statement, price performance, all these things coming from our knowledge graph. And then it can start to then run a bunch of searches on top of our search ecosystem or a search infrastructure that we've really fine-tuned for this domain, and run a series of searches to scour all that information, pump it into our agents to then be able to produce a really detailed report. What you can see at the end is it actually produces a really high quality report. Most importantly, with inline attribution for everything you see, right? So if I were to click on, we already saw these structured data points, but if I were to click on any of these attributions, this is coming from their 10Q. I can actually see that this number is coming from right here, right? If I click on this gross margin number, it's taking me directly to where it's coming from, right? So the attribution is key in finance, right? And we've put a very big emphasis and premium on making sure that the experience is very clean and simple for a user. So directly in experience, you can see that it takes you right to it. And what's cool here is, in this case, I ran it on all of our content, right? And you can see the attribution is really clean. In this case, I actually ran the exact same thing on a subset of our content. There we go. What I did was actually exclude public web content and focus, which means that the only news information it's pulling from is our premium sources. And what that does is actually, you can see all of our premium sources are being driven and used to highlight. So when you go through the attribution here, it's all going to be using Alliance, Benzinga, etc., premium news sources rather than pulling from different public sources, which, there's nothing wrong with this, but in some cases we do have clients that say, I don't actually want public domain information. I want to pull exclusively from the premium sources of information. So I don't want to see the AOLs, the Yahoo Finance, the Seeking Alphas. I just want to see the Benzinga, the Alliance. And if you have an FT subscription or anything like that, obviously you can hone it and very much specifically focus on that. And the end result here is a really high quality report that you can see, take and drop in anywhere, copy it as markdown and drop it into a document, or start asking questions of it, follow-up questions, however you see fit. And this is an off-the-shelf product. People can just use it. You just get credentials and get going. But sometimes people come to us and say, I don't actually want a new UI. I don't want a new application. I'm already committed to using ChatGPT or Claude or Copilot. And in those cases, that's fine. We have actually exposed all of our tooling as a connector, right? So all of the search, the structured data, etc., the knowledge graph, we've built out, I'll give an example in Claude, where we have the bigdata.com official connector. And what that enables us to do is I can have a prompt and actually have here, in this case, we've built out an equity analyst skill that's just more nuanced and more purpose-built to push Claude to be focused on how we want analysis to be done. But again, focusing on Lily, again, everyone's talking about AI, so doing something pharma. I'll run this execution. And what you can see here, again, very similar to what we saw in the audit trail of the traces in the big data agent experience. You're going to see something very similar in what Claude's doing, because Claude, again, has access to all the same tools. We don't really mind if whether you want to use our experience or you want to use Claude. At the end of the day, the core value add here is you need the infrastructure and the rails to deterministically get the information you want. So you know that Lily is a specific identifier, and then you can go out and get the tear sheet, so the fundamentals. You can go get the calendar, all the specifics around that name, and then you can start to run a series of searches. It generates a detailed report, all with full attribution, right? So if I click on any of these things, it'll actually take me back to big data and give me attribution in the same way that we saw in the other experience, but now directly in your agent of choice. And the beauty of this is that for anyone that doesn't want to build custom, doesn't want to use our APIs, they just want something off the shelf. You have an agent, a full agentic experience that's really clean, really intuitive, really easy to use, that allows full source control and full attribution across a series of thousands of sources, as well as using structured data. Or you can use our MCP and let big data come to you in whatever agentic solution you're using. And in this example, I showed you one in Claude. You can learn more about our MCP at docs.bigdata.com/MCP, as you see here. Feel free to poke around and take a look. But that is kind of what we've been up to here at Big Data recently. We have a lot more interesting things coming in the form of workflows, which I'll tease out here and we can talk more about.